Good evening and welcome to Future Chat. My name is Ian. I'm a lawyer. Oftentimes, I represent creators when they're talking about social media issues, when they want help with Web3 and metaverse issues, copyright, all those kinds of things. This is a new show that I started, and I wanted to actually get more people involved. And Wednesday in the evening seemed to be the best time. What we're going to be talking about in the future is the future, and we're going to be talking about future issues on the existing social media platforms, as well as, like I said, the Web3, the metaverse. I've really developed a love in the past year or so for Web3 technology. That is blockchain, that is NFTs, that is crypto, that is virtual land. And my channel reflects that because I believe in it. And I think that collectors and creators alike can benefit from being on Web3. And what I want to do with this channel and with the show, of course, is introduce you to the practical things you can do right now with Web3 and the metaverse. But today, we're going to talk about a little legal stuff. We're going to talk about President Biden's executive order that he issued today. And that's all about crypto and digital assets. It was a little bit of a surprise. Monday, we got a little bit of a hint that it was happening. And then there was an issuance yesterday morning, I believe, of a fact sheet that explained what exactly was going on with the executive order. And then we got a 37-page, right here, executive order that was issued and signed today, which I had an opportunity to review. And I think that there are some important secrets that can be gleaned from this executive order. There are some really interesting information that's kind of deep in the executive order itself. It's not mentioned in the presidential fact sheet. It's only mentioned in the executive order. And I wanted to give those to you, those bits of information, so that you can better gauge your investments going forward, especially in crypto, NFTs, and other digital assets like virtual land. The message is clear. The president is on the front burner, is concerned about regulation of crypto. He's concerned about fraud. He's concerned about climate. He's concerned about central bank, CBDC, excuse me, central bank digital currency. And we're going to get into that a little bit more as we talk about this stuff today. I just want to say hi to Sim Architect right now. Thanks for joining us, Sim. I really appreciate you. I think you left a comment saying that it was going to be a little bit late for you. So thank you for making the commitment. I appreciate that. But let's get right to it. Let's start talking about President Biden's new crypto order that was issued today. First of all, we refer to it as an executive order because that's an order that a president, only a president in the United States, can issue. And basically it tells his executive branch, his employees, to do something or to not do something. Now, the executive order itself is actual law and exists subject to the one limitation that anything that the president directs or says you shouldn't do, and that if that exceeds presidential authority, then it can be challenged and the order can be nullified. So that's, like I said, pursuant to the president's authority. That's actually in the Constitution, Article 2, Section 1. So again, to summarize, this is an executive order issued today that has to do with crypto and digital assets. The most important points that I want to talk about, that just kind of reduce it down to very simple talk, is what the heck does this executive order do? It basically tells the Treasury Department to do a big study on the impacts of crypto and digital assets in the world. It requests the Department of the Treasury make recommendations on laws that we can implement that will regulate cryptocurrency and digital assets. It also talks about national security risks, and it basically requests that all U.S. governmental agencies do their best to come up with a plan to guard against national security threats to the crypto and digital asset industry. So what's happening right now, I think, is the main concern is that the U.S. government doesn't have control over cryptocurrency. And what's happening is a lot of people, maybe criminals, maybe people that are, there's one example of Russian oligarchs using cryptocurrency to skirt sanctions that are currently in effect by not only the United States, but other countries. And so the president doesn't want there to be this unregulated type of currency out there that the U.S. has no control over. they want to be able to implement a digital currency, and we'll talk about that a little later, that they can actually control and nullify transactions when they see fit. So that's part of the executive order. The president wants to direct the U.S. government to figure out how they can control cryptocurrency from criminal transactions. And then the other thing is also kind of interesting is the executive order directs the Department of Commerce to establish a framework, and we'll talk about that, what that means, that government agencies, means all of them, can use to help the U.S. be a global leader in crypto, in the regulation of crypto. So it's kind of unclear. The president recognizes a national interest in America being a leader in not only crypto like business, but also in crypto regulation. He sees that we should be at the forefront of that. And so he's told the Department of Commerce that they need to establish this framework. It's kind of unclear, having gone through the executive order itself, what this means. I guess the Department of Commerce is going to draft up a report and some documents that say, hey, this is how government agencies can make cryptocurrency regulation a priority, how they can make cryptocurrency, goals of the U.S. a priority. So that one's a little bit of a fuzzy one. And then the also directs the Department of Treasury to do a report on the future of money and payments. The bottom line, I guess, is President Biden is concerned that people don't have access to the banking system. And so he wants the Department of Treasury to come up with kind of a research report on how they think the future of money will go. Let's see. The other thing that they wanted to do is the president wants the U.S. government, all of it, to take concrete steps to support digital assets. The steps must prioritize privacy, security, fighting against illegality, and reducing climate effects. Let's see here. And then also, the biggest announcement of the executive order is the one that probably is the people are most concerned about, and that is President Biden is directing the U.S. government to ramp up efforts to create a central bank digital currency. In this, in the headlines, they refer to it as CBDC, central bank digital currency. What that really is a government coming out with its own digital currency, its own digital credit system that rivals cryptocurrency. That is something that is basically the same thing, except for it's controlled by the central bank. And there's a huge controversy about whether or not we need CBDC. The reason why is it seems like the benefits of it aren't that valuable. I guess the Department of Treasury has said that CBDC can reduce transaction costs, but so can cryptocurrency, right? Obviously, there's not a middleman to, or a bank or some intermediary like PayPal or Stripe to take a percentage of a transaction. But they say it could reduce that. They say that CBDC could also be interoperable with other governments' CBDC. Now, I don't know the extent of CBDC in other governments except for China. You'll remember that China has that currency. So there might be some maybe a more efficient transaction that goes along with China's currency. And then, of course, they suggest that CBDC would be more transparent than our current financial system. In other words, they suggest that there might be some sort of ledger system that would be similar to the cryptocurrency ledger system that would allow people to access transactions. I don't exactly believe that. Right now, the cryptocurrency system is pretty transparent. Right now, if you go over to there's a blockchain.com. I think it's blockchain.com. I can show you right here. Let's see if I share my screen. Share screen. Yeah, blockchain. Right now, you're seeing, I think you're seeing, you're seeing a live picture of blockchain transactions. All of them happening. They're just moving. 609, there was a transaction for $2,600. There was a transaction for $21. So you can see these. You can click on them. There it goes. And then you can see that this was the amount spent. The address and amount specifying the BTC spent. This address spent whatever this money is, $258. And then this address received that amount of money. So blockchain is pretty transparent. I don't believe that CBDC would ever be something that would rival the transparency of cryptocurrency. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not so sure that I'm sold on it. I don't know the real value of it. We already kind of live in a credit system. I mean, obviously, we're not using cash on a day-to-day basis. And cryptocurrency is probably the best for transparency. And my gosh, there's a lot of suggestion out there that people can, launder money through Bitcoin or Ethereum, but really they can't, because the bottom line is we know the addresses, and if you did some good investigation, and certainly law enforcement has the ability to track down and to see all the different transactions from wallets, they're going to be able to find out who's doing what transaction. So that's one of the big concerns right now with CBDC is, why do we need it? And then there's another concern, and that kind of extends one little example. And I know I don't want to blow this out of proportion here, but back in 2018, as you may know, China has kind of a social credit system. And so in 2018, 23 million people were prevented from buying plane and train tickets because of their CBDC system, because of the fact that they had committed behavior crimes. Now, again, please don't want to be exaggerative, because I don't know if that's going to happen in America or any other country for that matter. But a lot of people are saying, listen, why do we want to give countries more control over our money? We saw an example of that in Canada, where people that were supporting the Ottawa truckers, their bank accounts were seized and they couldn't use that. They couldn't use their money. I imagine it was harder to seize the money through our current system than it would be if there was a CBDC system, where literally I think governments could invalidate the money itself just immediately, discontinue it. Now, of course, the reason advanced for having this power over our monetary system would be to prevent crime. If crime was being committed with CBDC and the government were able to figure out that this is going on, they literally could push a button and then just invalidate everything that was stolen and possibly return that money back to the people it was stolen from. So, I don't know. Do you want a system in which the government has sole control over our monetary supply? I don't know. I'd love to hear in the comments if you like the CBD system. President Biden, in this executive order, likes it. He is encouraging the Fed and the Treasury Department to hurry up their research and analysis, and then within 6 to 7 months, draft a legislative proposal that the president could bring to legislators in Congress and be able to adopt this system going forward. And we really wouldn't have much control in that regard. So, so that's what's going on there. Let's just see if we can say hi to some people here today. We got News Now, California. Hello, Ian. Always good content. Thanks so much for joining us, News Now. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming at the new time. We also have Jeff Bark, Digital Art. Yeah, please bring any questions you have concerning what's going on in your life, and also what's going on with respect to the future and the metaverse and preparing for it and those kinds of things. It says here, it's actually something they'll shove down our throats so nobody can trade directly off the books using cash anymore. Plus, they get to freeze, garnish, whatever they want. Sim Architect, I totally agree with you. I think, obviously the public purpose advanced is to prevent crime and to stop crime. And they could really do a pretty good job of doing that. The problem, of course, is when you're in the middle. Maybe there's a mistake made and you didn't commit a crime, but all your money is invalidated. In such a system, I think we would end up doing away with cash over time and coins. So, you would be kind of stuck with maybe gold or some other precious metal to do your transactions, and that's not going to be fun. That's going to be hard. So it is moving closer to total control over our financial supply, and that's why the CBDC system is a little bit scary. I just wish that governments, the U.S. government and other governments could trust decentralization going forward as a means to be able to allow people to have, much better access to. They don't even need banks, but much better access to money, much more opportunity to do financial transactions, and also be able to express ourselves freely. That's why I'm a big proponent of cryptocurrency and the decentralized future. I think it's the way that we need to go, and I really wish that we had people in office that saw the same thing and didn't want to introduce their own currency to try to compete with that. Just to let us create this currency that could really help people. I mean, I'm just thinking about one little example. I mean, like, some large amount, billions of people don't have bank accounts, don't have access to banking. And just think about how easy it is right now with cryptocurrency to get money to someone that doesn't have a bank account, or whose bank account, for whatever reason, is frozen. There's been a run on the bank, whatever. There's been countless stories of people transferring cryptocurrency to help out for Ukrainians horribly suffering right now. They don't even have to go through banks and worry about Russia seizing this or Ukraine having a problem here. You just go straight to them, and that cryptocurrency can be used to help people. So, think about it. If the U.S. had their own, central bank digital currency, it really could only be used for what they would allow it to be used for. So, if you needed to help someone who's in jeopardy in some country that the U.S. didn't like, sorry, I believe you're out of luck. You wouldn't be able to do it. Whereas in the cryptocurrency system, it's much more. There's much more freedom, and you would have the ability to get money to whoever you wanted, which is good, which is what I want, and that's why I'm really supporting that. Let's see, here we go. We got Shiro Wandera. Keep up the great content. Hello from Nashville. I love Nashville. Thank you so much for joining us, Shiro. I want to check out your channel. That looks really cool, what you're doing there. I love your avatar here. I can't wait to go back to Nashville when I get some time here. We also got Solo Depion. I feel like if the U.S. government goes all out and supports crypto and the price skyrockets, then there will be a lot of rich people buy their move. Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if you saw it today, but this executive order really did do a good job of raising the price of cryptocurrency. I mean, I could look at it right now. It's looking like it's up $30 to $3,100, or almost $3,200 today. BTC is at 41,906. Interesting that Ether did not have the similar bump up. It's only up $149. So I do think that a lot of people are invested heavily in Bitcoin, and they think that this particular executive order really affects Bitcoin. I think what their concern is that there will be some more regulation. There will be some more trust for Bitcoin transactions. My concern is that by the president issuing this executive order, there will be increased taxation. I was on a podcast today, and we were talking about whether or not NFTs can be taxed. And right now, cryptocurrency can be taxed. We talked about it in a video. If you want to watch it, it's on my channel. It's all about taxation and cryptocurrency. And so capital gains, of course, could be, you can pay upwards of 20% of your capital gain to the U.S. IRS. NFTs aren't so regulated right now. So it's a real gray area. But with this, you got to understand the letter of the law on this executive order is cryptocurrency and digital assets. So what does that mean? To me, that means, and actually, you know what? Let's see if it says here. There's a definition portion of the law. Let's see if it includes that. I didn't see if it did. Yeah, digital assets are defined as all CBDCs, regardless of technology used, and to other representations of value, financial assets, and instruments or claims. It keeps on going on and on. Says, for example, digital assets include cryptocurrencies, stable coins, and CBDCs. Yeah, there's not an explicit reference to NFTs, but when the word is used as digital assets, and frankly, this is just an executive order. This is not going to be the final law when it applies to digital assets. But certainly I would view NFTs as potentially falling within the definition of digital assets, and certainly virtual land. So this really could be something that affects them, and it would impose taxes on gains made in those areas too. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is they do specifically reference stable coins in the executive order. And for those of you who haven't used stable coins, they're kind of very beneficial because stable coins allow you to stay in the cryptocurrency system, but also kind of lock in your gains, so to speak. They are pegged to fiat currency or to a precious metal. I think the most popular one is the Tether stablecoin, which is pegged to the US dollar. So what's good about it is that, let's say you invested in cryptocurrency or you invested in an NFT and you made some money, you might take that money instead of leaving it in Ethereum where it goes up and down, or putting it in an altcoin, Dash or something. You might just transfer all that stuff and have to pay a gas fee, but that's it, into Tether. And then that amount of money is kind of safe. In other words, it's kind of like, okay, I established it. I converted it into US dollars. Well, I guess it was back last year, Tether, which is I think the largest stable coin, got into a dispute with US regulators because the US regulators said, listen, dude, you've got to back up every Tether coin with a US dollar if you're going to peg it to the US dollar. And I think they have I think it's $80 billion in assets or something like that. And Tether responded, we do. And they said, no, you don't. You don't have $80 billion in the bank. You have loans set up to secure the stable coin in case there's a run on the stable coin. And so it's not resolved just yet, but I think that the executive order, by naming stable coins by name, intends with this order and with the laws that come from it to start regulating stable coin it's kind of like insurance companies. You're required to have a reserve so that in case you can pay all the claims, you can't just keep on accepting premiums and not have some sort of reserve to pay off claims. Same will be true with stable coins. I think the U.S. government will say, listen, maybe you got to have dollar for dollar coverage. You got to have the same amount of gold as you issue the stable coin, so that if there ever is a situation where people need to get their money out of the stable coin, they absolutely can. I think that may pose a little bit of a problem for the stablecoin industry. I don't know that it's necessarily something that needs to happen dollar for dollar. And I think it's going to increase crypto costs and transactions, because that's going to be a lot. They're going to have a lot in their coffers to be able to support an equal USD peg. So, let's see. We got Star Lord here. He says, hell no, we won't go. Star Lord saying Bitcoin. Yeah, Star Lord. I totally agree. Today was a good day for Bitcoin. We're at 41,000 to the moon. So that's good. I was surprised that not a lot. We're in the green for most of the big altcoins, but we're not huge. I mean, I'm trying to think of the other gains on this thing. I mean, Rook got up $20. I don't see a tremendous. They're all green, but I don't see a tremendous amount of gains other than Bitcoin, which is up again about $3,200 today. So, yeah, if you are an owner of a Bitcoin, or maybe half a Bitcoin or multiple Bitcoins, you did well today. And Monero, Star Lord is advertising. I bet he works for Monero. All right, so Solo Nipian says, so maybe they want to do their own so that they don't cause people to get rich fast. Laugh out loud. Of course, yeah, of course. Well, I think it's. I'll put the backup side. I think it's less about so not worrying about people getting rich. I think it's more about control. I just think they want to be able to control this, and they want to push cryptocurrency to the back burner because they can't control it. And they want to do things like try to get people who are, the normies, so to speak, people who don't really understand crypto or the value of the metaverse or Web3. They want to be able to just kind of sneak it by them and say, okay, your dollars now are not paper. They're this digital credit which exists in your bank account. And you always do transactions with this digital currency, whether it be on your phone or whether it be on some sort of card. Or maybe we're done with an address, kind of like cryptocurrency. So and they'll say, listen, it's great. You don't have to have a bank account now. The central bank will kind of hold all the all the CBDC. But at the same time, I don't know how much of a value add. I mean, I don't know how much it's in it for us as opposed to what's in it for the government. We already have, right now in our current system, we have all the efficiencies that they're seeking to have. We have people who do not have bank accounts, but they have digital wallets, and that's how they live and breathe. Sim Architect, they're the ones who define what crime is, though. Anything can be illegal according to their will. Absolutely. The U.S. government makes that decision, and frankly, all governments make that decision. And as you saw, and again, I don't care what side of the political fence you are, but you must admit that if it must have been really shocking by virtue of someone contributing to one political campaign, one political group, that their money was seized. I mean, what was the story? I think it was a lady in Canada who contributed $50 or something to the Ottawa truckers and then lost access to her funds. I mean, all of them. It's not just like, since you contributed 50, you can't access 50, or they invalidated the transaction. No, they seized it, and that's kind of scary. I mean, that really is. That gets in a situation where you're like, what are we doing here? And also, how do you escape it? Because I don't care if you flee America, if you go to Tahiti or something, your money is your money. And I don't care if you have a lot of money or if you have a little money. That's what we use to live. And if there's some mistake, if there's some gray area, if there's some politician that has determined that you are in a group that shouldn't have access to money, dude, I mean, you could be without money. And you can't even put cash under your mattress and go, okay, all right, I lost my $20,000 savings, but I at least have $1,000 under my mattress. That doesn't work anymore. So if we don't have cryptocurrency, we don't have anything. We're gonna have to barter, which that would be freaking scary. All right, we got How Do It is here. I love this guy. Hey Ian, good seeing you again. Thanks for covering this, John. So much. It's so great to see you there. I appreciate you coming in for today. Oh yeah, Mara went up 16%. Oh, so you're saying that Mara did, huh? Okay. I don't have that on my list here of tracking, but I will. That's good. That's good news. I don't know. Tell me if you know why that was. Oh, this isn't miners. We got Tommy Wondera. Hi, Ian. I don't think that this is a step in the right direction because government is recognizing crypto as legitimate and important part of our economy. Don't you think this is? Well, yeah. I mean, I guess. I know what you're saying, Tammy, and because you're right. We do need to have we need laws that pertain to cryptocurrency. I mean, it's so funny. I oftentimes work with collectors of NFTs or creators, and one of the big questions that comes up is copyright. So they are going to make a 10,000 digital art NFT project, and they want to incorporate pop culture. So they want to have a parrot, an animated parrot, and have different types of special premium brands like Gucci or whatever. And their question to me is, can I have this Gucci purse in there? And so we do an analysis of, whether or not they have permission. We determine whether or not there's fair use. And the worst part of the whole analysis is that, even if I'm pretty accurate on this stuff because I've been doing it so long, there still is no law that applies to NFTs and to copyright relating to digital assets. I mean, we're dealing with like ancient law that was pertained to books and maybe movies and TV shows, and we've progressed so far then. So, Tammy, I do understand what you're saying. Listen, at least, Ian, they're trying to do something that's going to pass some laws that might add some safety, might do some protections to the climate, prevent miners from just causing power outages from all their mining activities. So I do appreciate that, and that's why I'm a little bit of a balanced person, a balanced position. While I appreciate that part, I just don't want it to go too far, and I think CBDC might be too far. It might be, again, you might like President Biden, and President Biden might have great intentions. He may never seize assets and by political orientation, and that's great. But who gets in office next? And if that person is your enemy and you speak out against that person, could they just push a button and say, boom, all your money is gone, which would be scary. So, I wanted to take a minute about the climate situation because I get a lot of comments from people about, oh my gosh, dude, cryptocurrency is so bad for the environment. And there are some legit problems. I saw the recent statistics and I was surprised by that. The US and Europe, I guess the percentage of total mining of Bitcoin for the US, I believe, is in the 7% range. And I think Europe is in the 6% range. But you know where all the mining is done? And I bet Sim Architect out there, and definitely John, know where this is. That's China. 65% of Bitcoin mining are done in China. And you got to remember, China outlawed mining of Bitcoin. So it's still happening. So if you're arguing that Bitcoin mining is really hurting certainly the electrical supply and maybe our climate, 65% of that is happening in China, which was very interesting to me. And then the other part to remember too is that we don't know how long that's going to last. We're seeing a rise in other cryptocurrencies, whether it be Cardano, Solana, certainly Ether, where we're getting to a stage now where we're not relying upon proof of work protocol. It's going to be moving to proof of stake. Transactions are going to cost a lot less. And I saw a quote recently saying that when we go to Ethereum 2.0, that transactions will use 99.97% less energy than is used for Ether transactions right now. So I'm not trying to argue that there's no impact on the environment by mining of crypto, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. But we're moving to a stage now where that's probably not going to be a concern. So it'll be interesting. And as to Tammy's point, the president has directed the EPA to do an analysis of the damage we're doing in this executive order to the environment by crypto. And I'm interested in seeing that. It would be great to see an analysis of that so we could really evaluate maybe which cryptocurrencies we're going to partake in and which we're not. So I really get your point, Tammy, and I appreciate it. Dara is here. I had a podcast with Dara today, and I'm so happy she's here. Stablecoins. Here's an idea. How about a reserve for US dollars? Oh, Dara is so great. That's a great comment. I like it. Oh, she did it twice too. I see. She's on YouTube and LinkedIn. I guess it goes through both. Yeah. I agree. And the other part too is maybe to support stablecoins, because I think stablecoins companies, projects are really, really helping people out when they're doing investments, certainly in cryptocurrency and also in NFTs. They flip an NFT and they make some money. They want to store it. They don't want to bring it into the system and pay a fee for the gateway, Coinbase, a fee from the bank, and eat up and of course gas fees, and eat up all their profits. So that's exactly true. Sim, I love his tongue-in-cheek stuff. CBDC is the perfect tool for any dictator. I believe you're right. I think that's true. Total control of the monetary supply. Sharma Adventures is here. Thank you, Sharma, for joining us on this Wednesday night at 6:30 right now in my time zone. We got Shiro. Do you think federal agencies like the FTC and NCUA for credit unions will have relevance in the crypto world? It would be interesting if it gave a confidence boost to those wishing to stake coins. Well, that's interesting. Unless the president vests the FTC with powers to issue insurance to cover deposits in crypto, the answer is no. I could see there being a role for the FDIC with respect to CBDC because of the fact that there would be some argument that this digital currency there could be errors, hackers could figure out a way to steal your funds, and there's some sort of guarantee of $250,000 per account. So I do think that's true. And when it comes to the credit unions, I'm not exactly sure what the relevance would be. I mean, I think conventional banks would use CBDC for loans. And so if the credit unions are taking out or doing loans, they would just do it in CBDC. So I don't think there would be much of an impact there. I will say this, that I'm really excited about the cryptocurrency lenders. I've done a couple of videos about DeFi and what you can do. Alchemix, which is a great company out there that's doing crypto loans. And I think it's a great avenue to be able to get lower cost loans, not have credit checks, and not have all the fees. It came up with kind of a cool scenario for charities. What I would do is take some crypto, let's say $1,000 in Ethereum, put it in Alchemix, and then I can borrow up to 50%. So I would take that $500 in crypto, Ethereum or whatever, and I would give that to a charity. And what's so good about Alchemix is that what ends up happening then is that you don't have to do anything else. Their investment of your $1,000 in Ethereum will start to pay back that loan. So that $500 you give to charity, they get the benefit of it. You get to keep your principal, $1,000. The only give up is that you can't use that $1,000 while Alchemix is doing its investing to be able to pay back that remaining loan. So I thought it was a great little thing. Let's say you had $1,000 extra in the budget to give to charity. You get to keep the 1,000, and the charity gets 500. So that's a pretty good deal. So yeah. So I think with respect to the conventional agencies right now, CBDC would be the same. But I also think that there are better avenues using cryptocurrency. Tammy says there are already more than 100 countries looking into their own CBDC. How do you see this playing out long term? I think that it's going to play out just like the president wants, and that is that he wants to have CBDC. Like I told you before, he's requiring the Department of Treasury to do the report on implementation of such a system within 6 months, and then he wants some legislation, some proposals adopted within 7 months. So that would mean that it's potentially going to be up, for the legislators to consider and their committees to consider this year. So it's happening, and I think one of the things that the executive order, I can show it to you right now. Just so you kind of get a feel for it. It shows that the president wants the U.S. to be a leader in cryptocurrency regulation, so to speak. And I think that they want this to be a comprehensive new kind of scheme that can be implemented by other countries and that other countries can use. So if a major, and this is the executive order, it's long and boring, and there's no pictures either. typical regulations right here. So I think that it's going to happen, and I think that other countries are going to see the value of CBDC to their governments, and eventually will move that way. The question really is there going to be a role for cryptocurrency in the future? And I think that as a mainstream role, I don't think cryptocurrency is ever going to die totally, but will it still be kept away from the mainstream because of the CBDC system? I don't know. I could see it happening. I could see crypto still being on the outskirts if next year we say, hey, we're moving to CBDC. We're taking away the cash dollars. All the money you have in the bank, that's now CBDC. You're welcome. It's now easier to transfer. It's now easier to borrow. You don't need to qualify for a credit check or something for a bank account. You could just have it. But I could see it happening really soon. And in that case, in the next 2 to 3 years, a lot of countries could have it. And then we are in a different system. So my thought is that I'm just hoping that all of us can really see the value of having a decentralized system where it allows much more freedom of spending, much more freedom of getting loans and sending money with less fees. I always compare cryptocurrency to like Airbnb, especially when it comes to loans. When Airbnb came along, it was such an awesome thing because people were used to paying so many different fees to get a hotel room, right? There's the hotels obviously got to get paid. There might be some sort of credit card payment. You might do it on a credit card, so there's some sort of credit card fee. You might do it through Expedia, who's taking their piece. And then again, you're just getting this hotel room. What they saw with Airbnb, which was peer-to-peer, which is like you're talking to the owner of a house. And for the $200 you're paying for a room, a hotel, maybe $200 gets you a whole house or maybe a condominium or something like that. So you get much more for your money and much less in fees. And that's really kind of true in this DeFi area of cryptocurrency where people are getting loans, they're able to contribute to pools and make sure their money continues to grow without all these fees, without all this, with all these credit checks. It's peer-to-peer. No one is dipping in and taking a portion. I think with CBDC, it's just going to be the same as we have right now. The banks will continue to take their fees. The intermediaries will take their fees, and we'll have less buying power going forward. So I think that's what happened. Kevin Hawthorne, good evening. Hey, Kevin, good to see you from North Carolina, I believe. Sim says, whatever they come up with, we must find ways around the system if we want a thin slice of freedom. And I agree. And I think what that means is that when these laws come up for vote, we have to make sure that we vote for legislators that are going to be much more mindful when it comes to wholesale adoption of CBDC and wholesale regulation of cryptocurrency without concern for some of the advantages of cryptocurrency. There's a lot of lip service played to the public in this order, saying, let's see, I can read it through here. The rise in digital assets creates an opportunity to reinforce American leadership and global financial system. There's a recognition that, last year, the market cap of digital assets was 3 trillion, and only 5 years ago it was 14 billion, so there's a huge decrease. Oh yeah, I think. Who saw that? I think Tammy was referring to the executive order. It says over 100 countries are exploring or piloting central bank digital currencies. So there's lip service paid to the value of cryptocurrency, but I think that half of this order is dedicated to CBDC. So I do think that this is the movement. I think it's really the secrets I wanted to talk about today were that kind of my takeaways from this executive order. And one of those is that the US government is going to figure out a way to tax crypto and, in my opinion, capital gains on NFTs. That's kind of the secret that's underneath this executive order. So get ready. It's Tammy may argue that, hey, listen, there's some value to it, and I may agree. Maybe we do need to have some laws that actually apply to digital assets, and we don't have much on the books right now. My secret number 2 that is underneath this executive order, I think, is the U.S. is going to start regulating stablecoin projects and require dollar-for-dollar backing. What is this going to do? I think it's going to contribute to fewer projects in stablecoin, which I think is going to make it harder to use stablecoins in the future, because you're going to have a lot of resources to back up your stablecoin. So that's going to only a fair amount, a few companies can actually do dollar for dollar, gold for gold backing. So that's going to really kind of reduce the effectiveness of cryptocurrency as it stands today. And actually, it's going to increase costs, because I'm sure that stablecoin is going to have to do something to be able to recover the cost of having $80 billion to back up their tether. The secret number 3 that I believe is happening with respect to President Biden's executive order is I think that the U.S. is going to issue regulations and require licenses for proof of work mining operations. This is the only thing I can think of that they can do to try to control and reduce the amount of flagrant use of electricity that damages our environment. What I think they'll do is they'll say, you can't, to be honest, it's hard to envision, but if you're a crypto miner, you can't use more than whatever amounts of watts of electricity per day or week or hour, however they're going to do it. And they might even require licenses, like a business license. Right now in most cities in America, you have to have a business license to do your work. And so that may be what they're going to be doing. And I think what the effect is of that is actually not that bad, because I think that will force the cryptocurrencies to adapt and figure out ways to not have such an impact on the environment. And I think we're already seeing that with Ethereum too, and a lot of the other proof of stake coins out there. The secret number 4 that's a little bit more hidden in this President Biden executive order is I think that the U.S. now is going to create an agency that monitors crypto transactions. As we talked about before, there was this big concern that people were aiding, powerful Russian people with cryptocurrency, and they were the Russian leaders were able to circumvent restrictions and sanctions by use of of cryptocurrency. So I think the U.S. is really concerned about that. They really want to clamp down on that. And so, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency, it's so transparent. It's so easy. As we looked at the blockchain.com, we're able to see the current blockchain transactions going on right now across the world, that they're going to need an agency to actually monitor those things and triangulate, use algorithms, use AI to be able to know exactly what's going on at every step. And I think that right now we don't have an understanding, as far as the government goes, of all those transactions. We do it on a case-by-case basis. You've certainly heard about a lot of the arrests that have been made by the FBI for fraudulent hacking of crypto transactions. And I think they're going to create, this is my supposition, they're going to create an agency that's there solely to monitor cryptocurrency transactions to determine whether or not they're legal or not. And then I also wanted to mention, I think it's my last secret that underlies this President Biden executive order, is that the U.S. is going to create CBDC within 1 to 2 years. And I've already said this in our broadcast, but if you look at this order, so much of it is devoted to study and rapid implementation of CBDC that I just can't but help think that they will. And I think that they're going to be able to sell it by saying it's not that big of a deal. Well, it's not much different than what it is now. Most of your transactions in America right now are electronic, are digital. So this is we're just eliminating the dollar, and now we have a credit system. And so, as we talked about, there are a lot of disadvantages to that. We saw that in China. We saw people who had behavior violations not be able to travel because their money was seized with respect to that one transaction. That's the thing we didn't talk about. It's one thing, like in Canada, to have your money seized. You can't spend it. It's another thing to you be controlled by your money. In other words, in that 2018 Chinese example, 23 million couldn't travel by train or airplane because of behavior violations. They could do other stuff. They could buy groceries, but they couldn't travel because the government was punishing that one part. I could see regulations and laws creeping into the U.S. Maybe not that strongly at first, but basically saying that if there are some no-nos that you've committed or things that are politically not to be tolerated, that they could limit certain of your transactions to control you. And then it's the typical lawyer slippery slope argument after that. When are we going to stop punishing people and making mistakes and people losing their resources and things like that? So yeah. Let's see, I got some comments here I got to get to. Yeah, we got Sim with another comment. Brazil is a country still under development, but you can transfer money between bank accounts instantly for free there. And that is because of CBDC? Is that what that is? I did not know that. Yeah, the IBAN system, which is very, very well used. Shiro says, we love your videos on YouTube. Do you ever get offers to join DAOs? Of course, legal skills. Should we contact you via your website if we have very, very solid project brewing currently in this stealth mode? Okay, of course, Shiro. What you can do is always feel free to email me at info@iancorzine.com, or feel free to tag me on Twitter. And what we can do is we can kind of talk back and forth, and I would certainly help you. Yes, that's probably one of the most intriguing parts of Web3 to me are the DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. The reason why it's intriguing is because it's a completely different expression of corporate formation. I'm so used to, helping people form LLCs and corporations with shareholders or members, but the DAO is different. The DAO is a situation where people come together and they invest in a token and then get voting rights by virtue of that token. And the value of the project comes from the tokens that they own over time. The better decisions they make, the more money that's invested in the project, the more popular the project gets. Generally the token value increases in value. And what's so nice about it too is that it's a free man's version of a corporation. If you have a small corporation and you have 5 shareholders and you do shareholder meetings and you take votes, that's fine. But what about if you could do business with people across the world? And it's not just 5 people making corporate decisions, it's 100, it's 1,000 people. And they've all put their money together. They have stake in this business, and they've created this business to be super profitable. and they vote, they make decisions on the fly. I've heard many different podcasts with DAOs that are functioning right now. Decentraland is one of them, where the corporate representatives, the people that represent the DAO, really can't be for sure what's going to go on in the DAO's future, because it's all subject to voting rights of the token holders in that DAO. So I love that idea that people of modest means can come together, and if they believe in a project, can buy a token for not a huge amount of money, and then have voting rights with respect to that organization, and then benefit from it, and then be motivated to help it. If they're on social media, pump their DAO. So yeah, I love it. And if you have questions about DAOs, I would love to help you out. Right now, I think Wyoming is the only state, I think, in America that recognizes the DAO. What they do is you can form an LLC DAO, which allows the DAO's decisions to actually have impact in state law, which is generally the province for business entities throughout America. So, but it's going to be happening more and more. California, I'm sure, is coming soon to recognize DAOs, and I think that it may be the business choice of the future. Forget about corporations and all the regulations and corporate formalities you got to follow, and kind of the proximity requirements. It's harder to do deals and make decisions when people are far apart, and voting rights aren't clear. So with DAOs, they are. Everything is in one white paper. Everything is in one set of rules, and there's smart contracts that are attached to that. So when certain things happen, certain dollar amounts are taken in, certain things happen in the DAO. So I really like it. So yeah, Shira, just reach out to me on Twitter is the best. I mean, just tag me at Ian49. That'd be great. Yeah, regular banking, regular currency. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so the I think Sim Architect was talking about not CBDC, actual regular banking. So yeah, that's great. So just to kind of explain this for people who maybe were watching this on the replay, of course, President Biden's executive order directs government agencies to really do research reports and then provide legislative proposals later on that he can give to legislators to introduce as law. I think that because the executive order has a lot to do with central bank digital currency, CBDC, that we think that President Biden is moving closer to making sure that America is on this system. We talked about the positives and the negatives of that. I see more negatives. Some people see some positives. Maybe Tammy is one of them. We also see that this executive order means, and like I said, the secret number one, that the government is going to figure out a way to tax crypto. It's just there's one little section of the executive order which says harness the benefits of crypto and digital assets. And what that means to me when they say harness benefits is tax. So we know taxes are coming. And then, of course, another secret is the stablecoin. I think the executive order is going to result in laws which will regulate stablecoin projects and require them to have dollar-for-dollar backing. We also understand that probably this executive order is going to lead to laws which require proof of work Bitcoin miners to have licenses or have some sort of law that affects them so they don't damage the environment. I firmly believe, and I don't know if this is true, but the Department of Justice is named in this executive order many times, that I think we're going to have another agency that's going to monitor cryptocurrency transactions and look for criminals in that. And then finally, like I said before, we think that CBDC is coming to America in a time real soon. I'm thinking within 1 to 2 years. We know that they're going to come up with a report in 6 months, and we know that in 7 months they're supposed to draft a legislative proposal that can be submitted to a congressional representative for making law. We have one question here. Tammy saying, adding to the other countries' discussion, central banks from Bahamas, Sweden, China are all currently spending different currencies, and this is fueling major concerns. Yeah. Among lawmakers, that the Federal Reserve could fall behind the competition. How do you see we can stay atop other countries in this? Well, this is a great question. This question assumes that we want to. This executive order, as I think Tammy's read, because she seems to really know the details of it, really emphasizes that the president wants America to lead in crypto policy and crypto regulation. So the president really wants to go there and thinks that us having and rapidly getting a CBD system is absolutely important for the interests of America. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. I don't know. I mean, part of me says, why don't we just let crypto and digital assets exist on their own? You know, why do we need to have this whole secondary system that's going to cost a lot of money to implement, to build, that's going to give the governments absolute control over our money supply? Why do we want that? So that's where I'm in this really interesting area for it. And I also have to say that I've done a lot of research on the benefits of central bank digital currency. You know, I really, because the governments are, especially President Biden, he so wants it. I was like, okay, what am I missing here? They're not really that big a deal. I mean, efficiency, maybe more access for people who don't have bank accounts now. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I guess the other interest might be stopping crime. I mean, all of us are interested in that. We don't want to have things stolen or fraud take place. But that's it. And the problem, of course, is that those interests are served by our existing decentralized crypto system. We have a situation where the transactions are entirely transparent in law enforcement agencies. You see every day a new headline. They are seizing, they are finding criminals, and they're stopping them. We have people who are benefiting greatly, you know, El Salvador, greatly from cryptocurrency and the fact that it can transfer sums of money very quickly and very accurately. So that's something that I've yet to completely. I would love if someone maybe tweet me if you could, if you have like some great reasons for central bank digital currency. I would love it because I don't have a dog in the show. I just want to know what are the benefits, and there really aren't that many ones that can be segregated from what's happening in cryptocurrency. And all I see is the potential for a lot more government control over our finances. So let's see. I can see that my wife Tammy is smarter than I am. I am also within striking distance of her at the moment. Well, you and I share one thing in common, and that is we have significant others who are way smarter than us. And my wife is that way. And then Sim Architect, I think you have the last word today. I see he's saying, for us, regular crypto is better. For them, control is a must. And I agree on that. Guys, I really want to thank you for attending today's Future Chat. I promise to make these very interesting and kind of delve into some of the things that you need to know to really take advantage of Web3, cryptocurrency, blockchain, NFTs, the metaverse. Because I hate to be like Gary Vee and always pumping, go buy NFTs. I don't want to do that. All I want to do is expose you. And my goal is that for you to have an open mind as we go forward on this, because I think that this is very similar to the internet back in 1994, to the dot-com era in the 2000s, where we had these unique opportunities. And there are some people out there who took them because they were in the right place at the right time. And I want you guys to take them. I'm taking them. I'm a virtual land investor. I have NFTs. I have cryptocurrency. I'm not breaking the bank with it, but I'm really keeping open to it because I think that this is going to be our future. I think that in the future we're not going to have websites. We're going to have parcels, and I'm going to say, hey, Sim Architect, could you come visit me on my land in the sandbox? And your Sim is going to be able to sign in, and he's going to be able to hang out with me. We're going to be able to go into the theater and watch a video. And do all this immersive stuff that we can't do right now in this 2D world. So again, I just really want you guys to see and be open to the value of Web3. And that's the goal of this program, Future Chat, and also the goal of my channel going forward. So thank you in supporting me. Thank you in staying open. And as always, you can reach me at info@iancorzine.com, and you can always tweet me at Ian Corzine. And please, if you are a Discord user, join my Discord server. It's very easy to find. There's invites in my video descriptions. You certainly could just search Ian Corzine in Discord and join the server. It's a great server. We do open-ended legal questions. I also have these great funnels for important metaverse and Web3 news. So you just actually click on a channel, and you're going to get everything you need to know about influencer NFTs, about virtual land, about things that are happening in Web3. So join that Discord server. And then last but not least, if you haven't already, join my email list. There's going to be, I think there's a link in the description today to my email list. What's so good about it, and it's different than any other ones, is that I give you every week 5 unique, simple opportunities in Web3. I have a person that helps me. We cull through all the different things, all the different news every week, and then we reduce it down. We spend time in meetings going, okay, we got 11. We got to reduce this thing down to 5. And then we provide those to you with a click. You just click on it and go to it. And we're hoping that that'll help you, again, stay open and find opportunities in Web3. So go down to the description section in this video, click on there, join my email list. Always just feel free to tweet at me, even if you have nothing really to say, just say, hey, Ian, and I'm happy to see it. So I will see you in the videos coming forward. I think I'm going to have one on Saturday, and I'll also see you every Wednesday going on 8 p.m. EST, 5 p.m. PST. And thank you for joining me for Future Chat.